Namaste and welcome. Happy Sunday to all. My name is KJ Hamus, and I'm excited to be here with you this evening to teach and offer up this yin practice. So, before we get started, just make sure you've got everything you need to help yourself feel comfortable this evening: a pillow, a blanket, two blocks or block equivalents, anything that works for you. And we will get started in a seated meditation. You can always use the wall for that, but our next shape will be using the setup as I have shown. So we'll take a moment to get that set up. So two blocks, both of them uh, right next to each other, one pillow, and then your blanket, if you've got it, across the pillow. I folded mine in half and then folded it in thirds, so it's longer than the pillow. So feel free to take a moment to get that set up. And then as you're ready, we're going to go ahead and meet in a comfortable seat. Back can be up against a wall, or if you want to use your pillow to sit on, and this is the only pillow you've got, that's great. You can just quickly do the setup for this in a minute. So take your time to do that. And as you're getting ready this evening to come into your practice, into your space, just want you to take a moment and reflect on how your week was. How are you today? Um, and always feel free to pop that into the chat if you're taking this live. But if you're not taking this live, just something to reflect on as you come into this. How are you? How was your week? How are you feeling? We'll have more time throughout the practice to reflect on it. But as you think about that, the challenges that may have come up, the positive and wonderful things that happened, thinking about and starting to frame this practice as a way to maybe reset for the upcoming week, or set yourself up for success for the coming week, or even just have your week feel a little bit better than it might have the previous week. Um, as with every practice, we show up how we're meant to show up. So that might be, again, in a really great, positive, happy mood. It also might not be. And that is perfectly okay. It's okay to come in and go, I'm grumpy, I'm angry, I'm tired, I'm sad. Any of the feelings that you're feeling, let your yoga practice and the space that you're in be a place where you can have those feelings authentically and fully and without judgment. So as you're ready, begin to find your way to your comfortable seat. Again, feel free to come up against a wall or use your pillow to sit up on. Hands can rest on the knees if you'd like, or you can bring your palms to face up to maybe receive energy if that's what you need. Or if none of that feels comfortable, just take one hand and place it in your lap, and then place the other hand on top of it. Feel free to close the eyes. Find a soft point for your gaze. And let's just take a couple of deep breaths in before we take a moment and start to receive the invitation for our practice. So deep, slow breath in through the nose. Exhale, open mouth, sigh it out. Deep, slow breath in through the nose. Exhale, open mouth, sigh it out, let it go. One final time here, full breath in. And a full breath out. Orienting yourself in space and time. Space being here, and the time being now. And as we reflect upon the practice we wish to have, we hope to have, we take a moment here to honor the stewards of the land who've come before us. So in Washington, D.C., we're on Anacostan land. We continue to reflect and honor the indigenous teachers from India, Africa, and other countries in South Asia that have come before us. These indigenous teachers who continue to educate us in the present, drawing on the past and honoring the roots of this beautiful practice. As you begin to tune into your breath, draw a gentle awareness to the breath moving in the body. As you breathe in through the nose, feel the air cold and fresh as it flows into the body, carrying our prana. And as you feel the warm breath leave the body, let it leave for something beautiful and to start something new. To create more space for what you might be needing right now. If it feels comfortable to you, if it calls to you, I invite you to breathe up and down the length of the entire body. So full breath in, feeling the breath expand the belly, the back, and the ribs. And as you exhale, feel the belly slightly contract as the breath moves out of the body. Our breath from a place of compassion, in a place of non-judgment. We want to keep that non-judgment throughout our practice, reminding ourselves that we show up every day so different. Every moment can be so different in our practice. So we don't want to be attached to what we think should happen in the practice. We want to be open to the possibilities of what could happen in the practice, not being tied to any particular outcome. And the meditation we're going to move into this evening was taught to me by my Yin and Reiki teacher, Yael Flusberg, here in Washington, D.C. As we continue to breathe, slow and gentle, not only feeling the breath move in the body, but feeling the subtle energies that live within us, so deep down in every cell of our being. Starting to picture and observe the breath as if it were water moving in a river or in a stream. Fueling the energy, our little tributaries, our little river channels throughout the body. We begin to move that image of water directly above us, as if we had our own personal rain shower, our own personal waterfall. We begin to feel this water of energy cascade down our entire being, entering the body. So you may notice that your rain shower waterfall has a color. Your energy has a color this evening. This is a color that's personal to you. There's no right or wrong way. Even if you don't see a color, that's okay. But just feel this water, this energy body wash over you. As you do so, notice the areas in the body that feel more bound, feel tighter physically, emotionally, and mentally, energetically. And observe the areas that are more open. Think of this energy bath as welcome opportunity for us to remain open to the possibilities of what may happen in our practice. We continue to feel that energy upon us. And I invite you to begin to imagine a particular space of yours, whether that's your office, your home office, your work office. Maybe it's a place where you are able to gather and greet friends right now, small gatherings. And think about the entrance to that space. Begin to move your energy waterfall or shower to the opening of that space. So anybody who walks through it may be met with the same energy bath as you. Begin to just visualize the people you wish to share that with at this moment. They don't all have to be your friends. It could be a coworker you're just acquaintances with. But notice how equal sharing of this energy makes you feel. And then as you're ready, begin to move your energy shower to the front door of your home so that all who may enter your space, or every time you, family, roommates enter this space that you dwell in, can feel the energy as they walk into the space. And then begin to bring the energy shower back to yourself. And draw your hands to any part of the body that could use some extra attention or love. And let the touch on that space be really light. You might even have your fingers or your hands hover from that space. And again, the place that needs attention and compassion is very individualized. So take a moment here to let the energy that you've been receiving from the world around you flow to that space. As you're ready, release your hands down and slowly begin to open your eyes. Take a moment to notice maybe 5 to 6 things in the space around you. Help reorient yourself. So notice their color, notice the shape, even notice the location in the room. And then as you're ready, no rush, we're going to come over to our setup that we've created. Using this as a chance to open up our hips. Oftentimes we do carry a lot of tension in our hips, physical, emotional, and even mental. While we might store a lot of the mental stuff in the brain, it's possible that stuff just like flows on down in the body. So our supported butterfly pose, we're going to bring the soles of the feet to touch. Our feet are on our blocks and our knees are going to be on our pillow and blanket setup. Scooch up as far as you need to, and then draw the upper body down. Take a moment here, just take a couple of breaths to settle into the shape, making any adjustments you need to in the height of the pillow or the blanket. Maybe if you've got blocks and you'd like them to be a little lower or even a little higher, feel free to grab a book or anything like that. And then as you're ready, start to close your eyes. And place your hands on any part of the body that, again, could use a little extra compassion, a little extra healing energy. So it can be the same place that you just left. Could be someplace new. And again, there's no right or wrong. Maybe you need one hand resting gently on one place and another hand resting gently on another. Totally awesome. Try and let the resting of your hands be light. So we're not gripping, we're not forcing the hands down. Just find a light, gentle touch. And as you breathe naturally, slowly, continue to feel the energy move in your body. Maybe even directing your energy to the place or places your hands are resting. With this shape in particular, how can you release 5 to 10% more? How in this shape can you reset from the previous week and or set your intention for the coming week? Notice where you're gripping in the body, whether that's in your shoulders, your neck, your feet, your legs. See if you can feel the muscle move away from the bone. And let the support of the props, the earth, hold you up. Got about another 3 minutes here. We'll spend those 3 minutes in reflective silence. Taking a final breath here in this shape. And as you're ready, use your hands to bring your knees together. Maybe bring the knees into the chest. And roll on to your favorite side, pausing for a moment. Using this as a time for reflection. Just checking in with how you feel. And then as you're ready, slowly just begin to lift yourself up. So move your props off to the side as you're ready, but keep them close by. You might need them for other shapes, and we don't want to have to reach too far to find them. And so we'll come into our downward facing dog and use that as the transition pose to get into our next shape. This shape was specifically requested for this evening. A really nice shape for a lot of reasons. So as we come into downward facing dog, we'll use this to get into our drunken warrior shape. Just notice how you feel. And see if we can find a bit more ease in the shape. Don't worry about having to bring your feet a certain width distance or anything like that. Just find the most comfortable variation of the shape for you this evening. And check back in as you take your inverted V, the places that are a bit more bound, feel more open, and how the energy is moving in your body. So from here, as you're ready, just begin to lift your right leg to the sky. Try not to hit the door like I just did. And then as you're ready, sweep your right leg underneath the left side of your body and slide on down. You'll notice my back leg starts to be bent. That's awesome. Let your back leg do whatever it wants to do. It can bend, it can be straight, whatever feels most comfortable for you. The physical point of this stretch is to work on the outside of the body. So working on all of these energy channels along the outside of the body. And depending on what you do with the upper body will depend on the variation of twist you get in the spine. So you may flex the foot a bit less or a lot more. Again, let the flex of the foot protect your knee, but also help you find the stretch in the IT band. You can stay lifted up on your hands. If you're like, yep, that's perfect. This is where I want to be. You can always draw your head down, resting your head on maybe a block tower. Or if you'd like, you can come on down to your forearms. Again, using your blocks or your pillow. You can bring your pillow or your blankets underneath your chest. So you don't have to go all the way down to the ground if you don't want to, or if your body's like, that's not happening this evening. And then you'll find a place to be there. You may also want to consider placing a blanket or even a towel just underneath your hip for a little extra cushion. And again, depending on what floor you're on, that might be really nice. And so be here for about 4 minutes on each side. And depending on where your hands are at, you may feel you can release one hand to a part of your leg or even your heart if you feel that needs your energy drawing with it. If you're happy with where your hands are at, consider as you focus on your breath, directing your breath and the energy from the world around you to the space that needs it. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to touch it, but see what happens if you can just focus on that area. And then if you're ready, begin to slowly make your way on up. If you used any props, just gently place them off to the side. And let's come into a tabletop shape. And from your tabletop, let's take some gentle circles around your wrists. Some light movement. Nothing forced, nothing aggressive. Just noticing how you feel. Making sure you go in one direction and then the other. And then from your tabletop shape, beginning to find your way back to your downward facing dog. So we'll move on to our left side here. Take a moment just to notice how you feel, any differences between the two sides, any differences energetically. And then as you're ready, float your left leg to the sky. And then slip your left leg underneath the right part of the body. So back leg can do whatever it'd like to do. Flex the left foot at your degree. Blanket, towel underneath your hip. Use any props that you need. If you found that on the other side, maybe the shape didn't feel so great in the upper part of the body, stay here, maybe not go down as far, or take a seated variation that takes out the twist. And to do that, we'll come into our half shoelace pose, so our left leg will be on the bottom. Move your right leg a bit more toward the midline of your body. And then you can fold there. So it's still targeting the outside part of the leg, which is the main energetic point that we're targeting, just without the twist. That is the variation I am going to take right now, but please feel free to continue with your drunken warrior. We'll be here for 4 minutes. And as you're ready, wherever you're at, slowly begin to come on up. We'll find our way, as you're ready, to your tabletop shape. This time, go ahead and extend the left leg long, toes on the ground. Push back on the heel. And then as you're ready, go ahead and extend the right leg out. And then just rock from side to side or around the wrist once again. Very gentle movements. And then sit back on the heels, swing your legs around. We're going to come into saddle pose. So I'll offer two different variations of saddle pose. And physically, saddle pose is going to help us get into our quads. This can be a great shape to reset or just know going into the week. If you're doing a lot of sitting, the front muscles, our quadricep muscles, our hip flexors tend to get short just from the way the chairs are built. Or if you're like me, I curl up into a ball in a chair. So that could be describing you as well. We want to make sure that this gets a chance to be lengthened. Be very mindful as we move into the different variations of this shape, because it could be really tight or really short if it's just something you don't spend a lot of time on. And that's fine. We just want to be very compassionate as we do this. So our first variation is going to be a half saddle variation. And be mindful of the knees with this particular variation and the second variation, says we don't want to cause any injury. So keep a block nearby if you'd like. And I'm going to start by just demonstrating with my right leg. Feel free to have your left leg behind you if you prefer. Ankle can be all the way down if you'd like, or you can bring the foot out to an angle, whichever feels good. The idea is to allow the front thigh to open. And so the angle of the ankle is just going to depend on what works for you and feels good in your body. If it's all the way down the ground, this might be a great place to stick a blanket or some towels or something under it, just to help soften the joint. So you can stay here, extending your left leg out long or bending the leg. I like to bend my opposite leg, but that's a personal preference. Feel free to extend it out long. You can stay lifted, maybe coming on down to the hands. You can come on down to your forearms. Blocks underneath the forearms or the hands can be really great to lift the ground to you. Or you can take your pillow, placing it behind you, and maybe bringing your back to that, or all the way to the ground if you'd like. Sometimes I like to place a block underneath my leg that is bent, and that can intensify the stretch. Again, be very mindful. We'll be here for a little bit, so you have the opportunity to ease into the shape. So that's variation one. Variation two, we'll start completely on our back. And we'll bring both knees up to the ceiling. Keep props nearby if you need them. And you'll start to draw the leg of your preference. Again, I'm demonstrating with my right, toward your left glute, so the opposite glute. So if you're on the left leg, towards your right glute. And then you'll begin to open up the knee out to the side. So depending on where your knee falls, you may want to stick block, blanket, or pillow underneath that as well. And again, be really mindful of your knee and which variation you choose. So this might be really nice too if bringing the leg back, as I just demonstrated, does not feel good at all, if that really twerks the knee, or if it just feels too funky on the ankle. Again, depending on where you're at, how you're feeling today, how you're showing up, one variation might be a little bit gentler than the other. We're not completely removing the tension from the stretch, but we do want to be able to be comfortable in this. So find your variation. We're going to be in our variation for 4 minutes on each side. So we have time to ease into the shape. Take what feels best for you. And each side can be really different. So this side you might take one variation, and the other side you can take a totally different variation. And breathe here. So as you settle in, two options, depending just on what you need. You can continue to lightly rest your hands on a part of the body that you feel could use some energy healing. Or if this is really intense, I'm going to invite you to notice a part of the body that doesn't have any tension. So it could be your pinky fingers, your pinky toe, the tip of your nose, the corners of your eyes. And just notice that area. Draw your focus, draw your awareness to there. Can that help ease you lightly into the shape? Can it help the mind soften? Let's take a deep, slow breath in and a deep, slow breath out. So take your time to come out of your shape as you need to. So that might be if you took the saddle variation 1, that you use your hand on your foot to help you lift. If you were on your back, taking our saddle variation 2, you may just stay on your back and just move your legs. So as you're ready, feel free to move the energy around in the quadriceps or in the hip flexors. You can take the palms, gently rub them, or making a fist and just lightly kind of working some of that out. Again, not really forceful, just real lightly. It's more of an open fist. And then as you're ready, you'll come into your other side. So if you were on your back, you'll bring your opposite foot toward the opposite glute. So I demonstrated on my right, I would move to my left foot, bring my left foot toward my right glute, and allow the left knee to open in an external rotation as it wishes. You may notice that this knee doesn't want to open, this leg doesn't want to open just as the other one did. It's fine. Prop it up, support the knee, and then hang out there. If you're taking our first variation, left toes come toward the left glute, right knee is bent or straight. And then you may find that you cannot go all the way back just as you did on the other side, or you can, any variation there. And so settle into what feels best for you and your body. And we'll be here for 4 minutes. Sometimes if we're really tight in the hip flexors, we could be pulling actually too much on the knee. So again, be really mindful of that. Prop up the knees on the leg that you're focusing on if you need to. We don't want to force the knee or any part of the body to do anything that doesn't feel good. And as you settle in here, bring your awareness to the part of the body that has the least amount of tension or no tension at all. So again, pinky fingers, tip of nose, eyelids, forehead, ears. Draw your awareness there. Or you can place your hands on a part of the body that could use a little bit more attention energetically. And as you're ready, slowly with the breath, lean out of your shape. Take your time. Take any movements you need. Might feel good just to pedal out the feet. You could even, once again, just make a very light fist, more of an open fist, and just work out, move the energy around in the thigh. So before we move into Savasana, our final resting pose, two options for what you need. The first option is return to the shape that we took in the beginning, our supported butterfly pose with the knees on the blanket and the pillow, or feel free to take legs up the wall. Just find what's going to be most comfortable, most soothing for you this evening. Legs up the wall can be really nice because it changes and reverses the flow of energy in the body. Normally we think about it just, it works with gravity, head down. But we might want to freshen that up a bit and bring legs up the wall. If the first shape was really helpful and just sort of releasing some of the tension in your hips so you felt like you could get a bit more into the other shapes, or just helped you calm the mind, that might be the place you go with too. It's really up to you, and there's so many reasons why you may choose to take one shape over the other. So go ahead and find that now, knowing that you could take none of those and you could just move into an extended Savasana. This is not the time, though, to check your cell phone, check your email. Just let this be about you and what you need on your mat in your space right now. You have the option to stay right where you're at, the option to move onto your back or to your belly for a more traditional Savasana. Begin to reawaken your senses. And start to invite some gentle movement back into the body, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Depending on where you're at, maybe you rock your head from side to side. Taking your time, taking whatever movements you need. Begin to find your way to your comfortable seat in your space. No rush to get there. And we'll pause in our comfortable seat when you arrive. To close the eyes or find a soft point for your gaze and just turn your attention one more time inward. Take a moment to reflect on how you feel. And to set your intention for the rest of the evening and for the rest of the week. Bringing our hands to our heart space. Bow our head to our hands in a moment of gratitude. Thanking ourselves for making time for our mat. And silently thanking those who joined us this evening to create this virtual community in this virtual space. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm so grateful to be able to share this practice with you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Thank you so very much. I look forward to practicing with you again very soon. Have a fantastic rest of your evening.